Okay, in our next video, we're going to look at some more character effects and also features such as cut, copy, paste, and moving your text around. We're going to look at some tools like your thesaurus, spelling and grammar check, how to do a word count. So let's go ahead and get started. For this tutorial video, I have taken a few paragraphs from the short story by Edgar Allan Poe, The Black Cat, and what we're going to do is make some changes to that now. Okay, as you see here, this story, of course, was written in the 17th century. Right now it just says 17th century, and you want to be able to put that little TH up towards the top of the letter. What we call that is superscript. One cool feature about Word is, watch this, if I just do TH and hit space, it automatically recognizes that is a number with TH after it, so it went ahead and put it into superscript for me. Well, let's just say that it didn't automatically do that. So what we're going to do here, okay, is I'll just come in and put the TH, and I can highlight just the part that I want to change. And you see here I have an icon for superscript, or you can always go into your font dialog box and you see the options here for superscript. We're going to look at strike through, subscript, small caps, all caps. And what we can do here is we can just go ahead and hit superscript, press OK, and it makes that change. Okay. Let's say that though you were writing a science essay and you were talking about water molecules, so you have H2O. Well, the 2 needs to be written in what we call subscript. Well, you see here there's an icon for subscript, meaning the letters are smaller and down towards the bottom of the letter. Or you can go into your font dialog box and choose subscript there. Okay, and then you have a nice subscript 2 for your H2O molecule. Alright, let's look at some of the other ones, and I'm just going to use H2O for this. Let's go back into our font dialog box. Alright, you have what you call the strike through. If I click on this, just look down at the preview here, you can see it just takes a line and it draws a line through it. If I want to take that off, just click on it again. If I want to do a double strike through, it's just 2 lines going through the middle of the words. Okay, let's go ahead and look at these over here. You have small caps, and then you have all caps. Actually, let me go ahead and get a couple of words here to do that with. Okay, so just look down here for the change. So if we do small caps, everything changes into all capital letters. But see here where the second, after the second letter, everything's a little bit smaller than the first, but they're still all in capital letters. And then if I just do all caps, everything is the same height all the way across in all capital letters. You can also choose hidden. Actually, no, we're not going to work with hidden yet. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. We're going to come back to that one here later. Alright, so let me go ahead and just cancel out of that. Those are some different character effects that you can make. Alright, the next thing we want to look at is highlighting text. What's the easiest way? Like, we know we don't want this H2O in our final product. So what are some different ways I can highlight this? Well, you can use your mouse and you can click and drag across and highlight text. You can, if it's one word, you can simply double click and it will highlight just the word. That's what I'm doing here, is just double clicking on top of each word. If you do a triple click, it will highlight the entire line or the entire paragraph, and that's a triple click. A couple other ways to highlight is to simply have your cursor blinking and hold down the shift key, and like if I wanted to highlight H2O here, I would want my shift and left, so I'm going to do shift and use that left arrow 3 times and it will highlight that way. You can also do shift and right. If you want to highlight quickly going down, you can do shift and your down arrow and it will highlight line by line, and of course that works the other way. Shift up also works. Okay, so those are just some different ways of highlighting text. One way that we've already talked about is how do I highlight the entire thing very quickly. I always suggest to my students, use your keyboard shortcut for this. It's either going to be Control A on a PC or Command A on a Mac. What that will do is it will highlight everything in your document all at once. Think Select All, Control A, Command A for all. Okay, so that's a quick way to highlight everything. I'm just going to go ahead and take out that line right there. And next we're going to talk about some really cool features, cut, copy, and paste. Okay, so first one we're going to look at is copy. Let's say that you have a reference that is going to be included several times throughout your paper. What you could simply do is type your reference one time, and I'm just making an example up here for this one. 207. Okay, let's say that's a citation that we wanted to use several times throughout our paper. What you can do is you can highlight that, and you can use either Edit, Copy, or, I love my keyboard shortcuts, either Control C or Command C, whether you're using a PC or a Mac. And what that will do is that will copy it. So let's say that at the end of paragraph 1, I needed to have that citation. Well, I just click where I want to insert it, and then I'm either going to do Edit, Paste, or I can quickly do a Control or Command, and V is in Victor. Okay, and what that does is it easily pastes that straight into our document. So you're not having to repeatedly type several or the same thing. Alright, so that's copy and paste. Well, let's say that I needed to cut and paste something. What does that mean? Well, as you can see here, my paragraphs, and I'm actually going to go in and take this out real quick, just so it's not messing us up. Look at paragraph 3. It's actually in the middle here when it needs to be down here where the cursor is blinking. So what we want to do in this case is we don't want to copy and paste it, because if we copy it and paste it, I'm just going to simply highlight, Control C, click, Control V. Well, now I have paragraph 1, paragraph 3, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. That's not what I want, so I'm going to quickly undo by doing our Control Z or Command Z feature. We've learned that before, or my undo button. And I'm going to start over again. So I'm going to come up and do a quick triple click. Well, actually, I need to go ahead and highlight because I've got 2 sections. I pressed enter here. If I turn on my paragraph marks, you'll see where I pressed enter. So I'm going to highlight that entire thing, and I am going to either go to Edit, Cut, or those keyboard shortcuts, Command X or Control X, and you see it disappears. Well, don't worry. All you have to do is click where you want to move the information to, and then either use your Command V or Control V, your paste keyboard shortcut, and it will appear in the right order, and then you can come back and format as necessary. So those are some really easy keyboard shortcuts that will help you manipulate words, items in your documents very quickly and very easily. I tell my students at my brick and mortar school, a good way to remember those keyboard shortcuts is if you look at the bottom row of your keyboard, you see X, C, and V are located there together. And when you think cut, copy, paste, well, they kind of go together. Control C is an easy one to remember because it's copy, but control or cut can't be Control C as well. It is Control X. So if you'll just see right there at the last row of your keyboard, they're all kind of located there together. That should kind of help you remember those keyboard shortcuts. Okay, I'm going to take off these paragraph marks, and a couple other quick features that I want to show you are in your Tools menu. Okay, in Tools you'll see you have your spelling and grammar check. Now I'm just going to go ahead and press this, and what it will do is it will take us to any of the misspelled words. So here we had mention, misspelled, so that's the correct suggestion, so I'm going to say change. And then we have this was the cat's name. Well, it's supposed to have an apostrophe there. You can also choose the other option, but this is the right one, so then I'm going to hit change. Goldfish should not have a hyphen in it, so we can hit change on this one. And then it will tell us that the spelling and grammar check are complete. Do not trust the spelling and grammar check to pick up every mistake. If you have a word spelled correctly, but it's used wrong, it's not going to pick that up. So you always need to make sure that you are going back and proofreading your work and having other, you can have your peers or having teachers go back and proofread your work before you turn it in. I always suggest to my students, one good thing to do before you turn in any assignment is to either have somebody else or yourself read it out loud. Does it sound like what you think it should sound like? All right, let's go back to our tools menu. We're going to get to thesaurus here in just a second, but the next one I want to go to here is word count. A lot of times your teacher says, okay, you owe me an essay of 500 or more words, or an essay contest can't be more than 800 words. So, what's a good way? There's no reason you should go in and count how many words there are when you can simply just click on this little button that says word count, and then it automatically gives you, there are 192 words. It'll tell you how many paragraphs, which is how many times you've pressed enter, how many pages, and it gives it all to you here really quickly. Okay, so again, that was in the tools menu. Okay, the next thing is, let's say you're writing a paper or a story and you feel like you're using the same word over and over and over again. For instance, let's just pretend that prevent was that word. Well, let's say I want to come up with something else. What's another word that means prevent? Well, I need a thesaurus. And instead of going to a bookshelf, most people don't even own thesauruses now, you can actually just go back to your tools menu, and there is a thesaurus option. Okay, if you want to change the word you're looking up, you can just retype it there. It'll give you some definitions here, and then some synonyms for it. So let's say I wanted to change it to, let's do avert. I like avert here. So click one time and then press insert. If you click on these twice, what it will do is take you to even more lists of different meanings that you can get to for your thesaurus. So as you can see, there's no reason to have one word repeated several times throughout a paper. So if you feel like you're repeating yourself, go in and use that thesaurus. Okay, and one more quick feature that I want to show you before this lesson is over is the find feature. Okay, let's say that you had cats. Okay, let's say we want to take the word cat, and we've been writing this story, and all of a sudden we say we want to change our story to the black bird. Okay, so how can we take every time we find cat and change it to bird? All right, so we're going to do a Control F, and actually I'm going to do edit, and we're going to go to find. Okay, and it's either Command F or Control F if you want to do it that way, but I want to show you the menu here. So we can either just find every time we use the word cat. So I'm going to type right up here, C-A-T, and press enter. And it will nicely highlight every time I use cat. Well, let's look at some of those other features. Let's say I wanted to replace it with bird, because we renamed our story the Black Bird instead. We can actually go to replace, and it says find every time we use cat and replace with bird. Okay, and then we can just simply hit replace all. Whoops. And then if I come up here and I type in bird and I press enter, it highlights every time it used to say cat. Okay, so let's just go ahead and make sure we get that changed back to how we had it. There we go. Alright, so we've now got the black cat again. Alright, those are just some more features. We'll have some more tutorial videos here for you shortly.